You are lying on a lectus matrimonialis in your villa's cubiculum as the first tremors of what will become history's most famous volcanic eruption rumble beneath Pompeii. In the late summer of 79 AD, the marble floors are warm beneath your bare feet, heated by the hypocaust system that channels hot air through the walls. Your husband Marcus shifts beside you on the feather-stuffed mattress, his calloused merchant's hands finding yours beneath the silk coverlet imported from distant China. But this moment of tenderness exists within a carefully orchestrated symphony of household life. Beyond the thin wooden partition, you can hear the soft footsteps of Gaius, your eldest son, pacing as he memorizes his rhetorical exercises. In the adjoining servant's alcove, your body slave Claudia pretends to sleep while listening for your slightest need. From the atrium below comes the murmur of voices, as your mother-in-law Livia Prima discusses household accounts with the Villicas, who manages your estate. And in the kitchen courtyard, the wet nurse tends to your infant daughter while slaves prepare the evening meal. This is intimacy in the Roman world, a delicate dance performed within the watchful eyes of extended family, household slaves, and the rigid social hierarchies that governed every aspect of daily life. Privacy as we understand it today was not merely scarce in ancient Rome. It was fundamentally contrary to the Roman concept of dignitas and the interconnected web of obligations that defines civilized life. Your villa, though luxurious by the standards of the empire, housed perhaps 20 individuals spanning 3 generations, from aging freedmen who had served your family for decades to young slave children learning their trades. The paterfamilias, your husband Marcus, held legal authority over every soul within these walls. Yet even his power was circumscribed by social expectations, religious obligations, and the ever-present need to maintain the family's reputation. Within Pompeii's competitive social hierarchy, the architecture of Roman homes reflected this reality of communal living, with subtle accommodations for marital privacy. Your cubiculum, the marriage chamber, was positioned strategically within the villa's layout, accessible from the atrium through a narrow corridor that allowed for discreet movement, while maintaining the visual connections essential to Roman domestic life. The room itself was small by modern standards, perhaps 12 feet square, its walls adorned with frescoes depicting scenes from mythology that served both decorative and educational purposes. The images of Venus and Mars, painted in vibrant reds and golds, reminded all who entered that marital love was sanctified by the gods and essential to the continuation of Roman civilization. The bed dominated this sacred space, its bronze frame, inlaid with silver decorations that had been part of your dowry 10 years earlier. The mattress, stuffed with wool and goose down, was covered with linens that bore the purple stripe indicating your family's equestrian status. These textiles, woven by your personal slaves and marked with your family's symbols, represented not merely comfort but identity, wealth, and social position. The bed curtains, heavy silk panels dyed with expensive Tyrian purple, served multiple functions beyond warmth and decoration. They created a psychological barrier that transformed the cubiculum into a private world, muffling sounds and blocking sightlines while maintaining the fiction that the activities within were hidden from the household's watchful eyes. Roman marriage was fundamentally a political and economic alliance, yet within this pragmatic framework, couples like you and Marcus found ways to cultivate genuine affection and desire. Your marriage had been arranged by your fathers when you were 14 and Marcus 22. The union designed to combine his family's growing wealth from maritime trade with your family's ancient patrician lineage. The marriage ceremony itself had been conducted according to traditions stretching back centuries, with you wearing the white tunic and flame-colored veil that symbolized your transition from maiden to matron. The ritual words "you be to Gaius, ego Gaia" established you as partners in all aspects of life, sharing not only property and children, but also religious obligations and social responsibilities. The development of intimacy within this arranged framework required patience, subtlety, and the mastery of complex social codes. Roman culture provided numerous models for understanding love, from the passionate affairs celebrated in poetry to the dignified partnership idealized in philosophy. Ovid's Ars Amatoria, though officially condemned by Augustus, circulated privately among the educated classes and provided practical advice for cultivating desire within marriage. The poet's emphasis on mutual pleasure, careful grooming, and the importance of conversation in maintaining attraction offered couples like you and Marcus a vocabulary for discussing intimacy that transcended mere procreation. The daily rhythm of Roman life created natural opportunities for marital connection. Within the constraints of communal living, the morning salutatio, when clients and freedmen paid their respects to Marcus in the atrium, required you to appear as the dignified matrona, your hair elaborately styled and your stola perfectly draped. These public appearances, while formal, allowed for subtle communications between spouses. A particular arrangement of your jewelry, a choice of perfume, or a lingering glance during the ceremonial greeting could convey messages that would be received and understood hours later in the privacy of the cubiculum. The Roman bathing culture provided perhaps the most significant opportunities for intimate preparation and connection. Your villa's private bath suite, though smaller than the great public thermae, allowed for the kind of personal care that was essential to Roman concepts of beauty and attraction. The tepidarium, with its warm pools and aromatic oils, became a space where you could prepare your body for your husband's attention, while your slave massaged perfumed unguents into your skin. Marcus, following the Roman masculine ideal, spent his afternoons at the public baths, where the rituals of scraping, oiling, and exercise maintained the physical fitness that Romans considered essential to moral virtue. These bathing practices were not merely hygienic but deeply cultural, reflecting Roman beliefs about the relationship between physical cleanliness and spiritual purity. The oils and perfumes used in bathing were costly imports from across the empire, their exotic scents carrying associations with distant lands and luxurious living. The application of these substances became a form of foreplay that could extend throughout the day, as the lingering fragrances served as subtle reminders of intimate intentions. Food preparation and sharing played crucial roles in Roman intimate relationships, creating opportunities for couples to collaborate and express affection within socially acceptable frameworks. Your kitchen, managed by a skilled cook who had trained in the great houses of Rome, produced elaborate meals that reflected both your family's wealth and your personal attention to Marcus's preferences. The selection of ingredients, many imported at considerable expense, demonstrated care and devotion that transcended mere sustenance. The honey cakes flavored with wine and spices, the garum-seasoned vegetables from your garden, and the carefully aged wines from your vineyards all carried messages of love and attention that could be understood without words. The evening meal, served in the triclinium where family members reclined on couches arranged around low tables, became a theater for marital interaction. The seating arrangements, dictated by social hierarchy, nevertheless allowed for subtle physical contact as you shared cups and offered choice morsels to Marcus. The conversation, conducted in the presence of children and slaves, required careful modulation to include private communications within public discourse. A discussion of poetry might contain veiled references to desire, while comments on household management could convey appreciation for mutual efforts in maintaining family prosperity. Roman religious practices created additional frameworks for understanding and expressing marital intimacy. The household gods, represented by small statues in the lararium, were believed to take interest in the family's private affairs and bless unions that produced healthy children and maintained social harmony. The daily offerings of wine and incense, conducted by Marcus as paterfamilias, included prayers for marital felicity and domestic peace. The major religious festivals throughout the year provided opportunities for couples to participate in rituals that celebrated fertility, love, and family continuity. The Floralia in spring, though officially a celebration of flowers and renewal, included elements that encouraged marital intimacy through its association with Venus and the regenerative powers of nature. The Matronalia in March honored Juno as protector of married women and provided matrons with opportunities to receive gifts from their husbands and pray for marital happiness. These religious observances created socially sanctioned times for expressing affection and gratitude within marriage, while maintaining the dignity appropriate to Roman social status. The influence of Stoic philosophy on Roman approaches to love and marriage created complex attitudes toward passion and desire. The teachings of Seneca and Epictetus, popular among the educated classes, emphasized rational control over emotions, while acknowledging the natural human need for companionship and affection. This philosophical framework encouraged couples to view their relationship as a partnership in virtue rather than merely an arrangement for pleasure, creating possibilities for deep emotional and intellectual connection that could coexist with physical desire. The Roman legal system's treatment of marriage reflected these philosophical influences, while maintaining practical considerations of property and inheritance. Your marriage to Marcus was conducted under the system of sine manu, which allowed you to retain legal connection to your birth family and maintain control over your dowry. This arrangement created more equality within the marriage than earlier forms of Roman marriage, allowing for partnership rather than simple submission. The legal protections for married women, though limited by modern standards, provided frameworks for understanding mutual obligations and rights that influenced how couples approach their intimate relationships. The presence of slaves in Roman households created unique challenges and opportunities for marital intimacy that had no parallel in other ancient cultures. your personal slaves, trained from childhood to anticipate your needs and maintain your comfort, necessarily became witnesses to your most private moments. The development of trust and discretion among household slaves was essential to maintaining any semblance of marital privacy. Claudia, your body slave, had been with you since your wedding day and understood the subtle signals that indicated when her presence was desired or when she should make herself scarce. The economic dimensions of slave ownership also influenced intimate relationships in ways that extended beyond simple service. The management of household slaves required cooperation between spouses, creating opportunities for consultation and shared decision-making that strengthened marital partnership. The education and training of young slaves became joint projects that reflected family values and priorities. The manumission of faithful slaves, often conducted as joint decisions between husband and wife, demonstrated shared commitment to justice and loyalty that transcended mere economic calculation. The seasonal rhythms of Roman life created natural patterns of intimacy that reflected both practical considerations and cultural associations. Summer brought opportunities for retreat to country villas, where the constraints of urban social life could be temporarily relaxed. The Villa Rustica outside Pompeii, with its vineyards and olive groves, provided settings for romantic walks and private conversations that were impossible within the city's crowded streets. The agricultural activities of harvest time created legitimate reasons for couples to work closely together, their collaboration in managing estate business strengthening bonds of partnership and mutual dependence. Winter's shorter days and longer nights created different opportunities for intimate connection. The need for warmth made physical closeness a practical necessity, as well as an emotional desire. The evening hours, extended by oil lamps and braziers, provided time for conversation, reading, and quiet activities that fostered emotional intimacy. The Roman practice of reciting poetry aloud, whether the passionate verses of Catullus or the epic narratives of Virgil, created opportunities for couples to share literary experiences that enrich their relationship with cultural meaning and emotional depth. The challenges of childbearing and child-rearing in Roman society created additional complexities for intimate relationships. The high rates of infant mortality meant that successful pregnancies were celebrated as divine blessings, while failed pregnancies were mourned as evidence of divine displeasure or personal failing. The rituals surrounding pregnancy and childbirth, from the offerings made to Juno Lucina to the purification ceremonies following delivery, created formal structures for understanding the physical and spiritual dimensions of marital fertility. The Roman practice of wet nursing, common among wealthy families, created opportunities for couples to resume intimate relations more quickly after childbirth, while ensuring proper care for their infants. The selection and management of wet nurses became joint decisions that reflected family priorities and values. The relationship between parents and wet nurses often became emotionally complex, as these women provided essential services while remaining socially inferior members of the household hierarchy. Roman attitudes toward contraception and family planning reflected both practical considerations and religious beliefs. The knowledge of herbs and techniques for preventing pregnancy was passed down through networks of women, from mothers to daughters and from experienced matrons to younger wives. This underground wisdom operated alongside official religious teachings that emphasized the importance of producing legitimate heirs for family continuity. The decisions about family size and spacing of children required careful negotiation between spouses, balancing personal desires with social obligations and economic resources. The Roman understanding of gender roles created both constraints and opportunities for intimate relationships. The ideal of the matrona emphasized dignity, chastity, and devotion to family welfare, while the concept of virtues required men to demonstrate courage, justice, and self-control. These ideals, while restrictive, also provided frameworks for mutual respect and admiration that could strengthen marital bonds. The recognition that both spouses had essential roles in family success created possibilities for partnership that transcended simple hierarchy. The practice of Roman hospitality created additional challenges for maintaining marital privacy while fulfilling social obligations. The tradition of welcoming guests into the home, often for extended periods, meant that couples had to balance their private needs with the demands of entertaining visitors and maintaining their reputation for generosity. The arrangement of guest quarters, the provision of entertainment, and the management of household resources during visits all required coordination between spouses that demonstrated their effectiveness as partners. Roman attitudes toward aging and its effects on intimate relationships reflected both practical realities and philosophical ideals. The Stoic emphasis on accepting natural changes, while maintaining dignity provided couples with frameworks for adapting their physical relationship as they aged. The Roman respect for experience and wisdom meant that older couples often gained social authority that compensated for physical limitations. The example of long marriages, celebrated in funerary inscriptions and family histories, provided models for enduring love that transcended youthful passion. The role of Roman women in managing household economies created opportunities for intimate partnership that extended beyond traditional gender roles. Your responsibility for overseeing domestic slaves, managing household accounts, and coordinating with suppliers and craftsmen required skills and knowledge that Marcus respected and relied upon. The decisions about expenditures, investments, and household improvements became collaborative processes that strengthened your partnership while demonstrating your competence and intelligence. The Roman practice of letter writing, among those who possessed literacy, created opportunities for intimate communication that could transcend physical separation. When Marcus traveled to ports throughout the Mediterranean on business, the exchange of letters allowed you to maintain emotional connection. While managing practical affairs, these letters, dictated to scribes or written in your own hand, required careful composition to convey personal messages while maintaining appropriate dignity. The arrival of letters became anticipated events that brought distant spouses momentarily together across the miles. The seasonal celebrations of Roman life provided opportunities for couples to express their affection within socially acceptable frameworks. The Saturnalia in December temporarily reversed social hierarchies and encouraged playful behavior that allowed married couples to interact more freely than usual. The exchange of gifts, the sharing of special foods, and the relaxation of normal social constraints created opportunities for romantic gestures and intimate conversations that might otherwise be inappropriate. The Roman understanding of time and its passage influenced intimate relationships by creating awareness of the temporary nature of earthly life and the importance of making the most of available opportunities for connection and love. The frequent reminders of mortality, from funeral processions in the streets to family tombs along the roads outside the city, encouraged couples to value their time together while maintaining appropriate Roman dignity and self-control. The practice of Roman record-keeping created formal documentation of intimate relationships that provides modern historians with insights into the daily lives of Roman couples. Marriage contracts, property agreements, and personal letters all contribute to our understanding of how Romans like you and Marcus navigated their intimate relationships within the constraints of ancient social structures. The preservation of these documents in the volcanic ash of Vesuvius has given us unprecedented glimpses into the private lives of ordinary Romans. The Roman understanding of honor and reputation influenced intimate relationships in ways that extended far beyond the private sphere. The need to maintain dignitas, avoid scandal, and protect family name created additional pressures on couples to conform to social expectations while pursuing their personal happiness. The community's role in observing and judging marital behavior created networks of surveillance that made true privacy nearly impossible while providing social support for stable family relationships. The practice of Roman education created opportunities for intellectual partnership between spouses that could deepen intimate connections. Your education in literature, music, and household management prepared you to serve as an intelligent companion to Marcus, rather than merely a decorative ornament. The shared knowledge of poetry, history, and philosophy provided couples with common interests and vocabularies for discussing ideas and feelings that transcended the purely practical aspects of marriage. The Roman military system created unique challenges for maintaining intimate relationships when husbands served in distant campaigns or when soldiers sought winter quarters in private homes. The arrival of military units created additional pressures on household management while providing opportunities for couples to demonstrate their hospitality and patriotism. The stories of military service, shared by returning soldiers or visiting officers, created shared experiences that could strengthen bonds of mutual understanding and respect. The seasonal patterns of Roman trade created natural rhythms of separation and reunion that influenced intimate relationships. Marcus's business ventures required periodic absences for travel to ports and markets throughout the Mediterranean. These separations, while economically necessary, created challenges for maintaining emotional connection while providing opportunities for appreciation and renewed passion upon reunion. The management of business affairs during these absences required trust and competence that strengthened marital partnership. The Roman understanding of friendship and its role in social life created complex dynamics that influenced intimate relationships. The concept of amicitia emphasized loyalty, mutual support, and intellectual companionship between individuals of similar social status. The balance between spousal intimacy and same-sex friendships required careful navigation to avoid jealousy, while maintaining the social connections essential to Roman life. The entertaining of friends in the home provided opportunities for couples to demonstrate their unity and hospitality while engaging in the intellectual and social activities that enriched Roman culture. The practice of Roman medicine created opportunities for intimate care that strengthened marital bonds, while addressing practical health concerns. The treatment of illness and injury often required spouses to care for each other in ways that were both necessary and emotionally meaningful. The knowledge of herbal remedies, the application of treatments, and the provision of comfort during suffering all created opportunities for tender physical connection and mutual service. The Roman understanding of dreams and their significance influenced intimate relationships by creating shared frameworks for interpreting nighttime experiences. The belief that dreams could reveal divine messages, predict future events, or reflect hidden desires provided couples with ways to discuss their inner lives and unconscious concerns. The sharing of dreams became a form of intimacy that transcended physical limitations, while providing insights into hopes, fears, and spiritual concerns. The seasonal rhythms of Roman religious life created natural patterns of intimacy that reflected the community's understanding of appropriate times for different types of spiritual and physical activity. The observance of feast days, fast days, and periods of purification all influenced how couples experienced their intimate relationships. Within the broader context of religious obligation and community membership, the Roman practice of patronage created additional layers of social obligation that influenced intimate relationships. The management of client relationships, the provision of support to freedmen, and the maintenance of political alliances all required coordination between spouses and demonstrated their effectiveness as partners in managing social and economic resources. The public ceremonies of patron-client relationships provided opportunities for couples to appear together in roles that emphasized their unity and shared commitment to family honor. The Roman understanding of beauty and its cultivation influenced intimate relationships by creating shared standards and practices for maintaining physical attractiveness. The elaborate grooming rituals, expensive cosmetics, and careful attention to dress and jewelry all reflected cultural values that emphasized the importance of visual appeal in maintaining desire and demonstrating social status. The time and resources devoted to personal beauty created opportunities for intimate service, as spouses assisted each other in achieving the elaborate standards of Roman fashion. The practice of Roman funerary customs created formal opportunities for couples to express their love and commitment in ways that transcended earthly limitations. The elaborate tombs along the roads outside Pompeii, with their inscriptions celebrating long marriages and mutual devotion, provided models for enduring love that could inspire living couples. The rituals of mourning and commemoration created ways for surviving spouses to honor their deceased partners while maintaining appropriate dignity and social standing. The Roman understanding of legacy and its importance for family continuity influenced intimate relationships by creating shared goals that extended beyond immediate pleasure or comfort. The desire to produce worthy heirs, accumulate property for transmission to future generations, and maintain family reputation across time created purposes for marriage that could strengthen bonds between spouses while providing frameworks for understanding temporary difficulties or disappointments. The architectural evolution of Roman homes throughout the imperial period reflected changing attitudes toward privacy and intimacy while maintaining essential connections to communal life. The gradual development of more elaborate private quarters, the addition of gardens and courtyards that provided semi-private spaces, and the increasing sophistication of heating and lighting systems all contributed to the possibility of more comfortable and intimate domestic environments. The Roman practice of adoption created additional complexities for intimate relationships as couples navigated the emotional and legal dimensions of incorporating non-biological children into their families. The decisions about adoption, the selection of appropriate candidates, and the management of relationships with birth families all required careful consultation and mutual support between spouses while demonstrating their commitment to family continuity and social responsibility. The seasonal celebrations of Roman military victories created opportunities for community-wide festivities that allowed couples to participate in public celebrations while strengthening their private bonds. The triumph processions, gladiatorial games, and public feasts provided contexts for couples to appear together in celebration of Roman power and prosperity while enjoying rare opportunities for public entertainment and social interaction. The Roman understanding of fortune and its role in human affairs influenced intimate relationships by creating awareness that external circumstances could change rapidly and unpredictably. The recognition that wealth, health, and social position were subject to the whims of fate encouraged couples to value their relationship as one of the few constants in an uncertain world, while maintaining the flexibility necessary to adapt to changing circumstances. And so, as the tremors beneath Pompeii grow stronger and the ash begins to fall more heavily outside your villa's windows on that fateful day in 79 AD, you and Marcus find yourselves drawing closer together in ways that transcend the physical constraints of your world. Your intimacy, forged in the crucible of Roman social expectations and refined through years of navigating the complex demands of marriage, family, and community, has become something more precious than the gold and silver treasures that fill your home. The approaching disaster, though you cannot yet comprehend its magnitude, seems to intensify every sensation, every touch, every shared glance between you. The warm marble beneath your feet, heated by the same volcanic forces that will soon destroy your city, becomes a reminder of the luxury and comfort that Roman civilization has provided. The silk coverlet that shelters your bodies, woven by craftsmen whose techniques span generations, represents the cultural achievements that have made your life possible. The murmur of voices from other parts of the villa, once perhaps an intrusion on your privacy, now becomes a comforting reminder of the human connections that have given meaning to your existence. Your hands find each other in the gathering darkness, calloused from years of work and service, yet still capable of conveying the tenderness that has sustained you through the challenges of Roman life. The love you have created together, not the grand passion of poetry, but something far more enduring, represents the triumph of human connection over the constraints of an ancient world that valued duty above desire, family honor above personal happiness, and social order above individual freedom. The techniques you develop for finding intimacy within communal living, the compromises you made between personal desires and social obligations, and the bonds you forged in the margins of public life tell a story that transcends the specific circumstances of first-century Pompeii. In learning to love within limits, to find privacy within community, and to maintain tenderness within formality, you and countless other Roman couples created something that the volcanic ash would preserve, but never destroy: the knowledge that human beings can create sacred spaces anywhere, can find ways to touch souls even when bodies are constrained, and can build bonds strong enough to sanctify even the most ordinary moments with the power of chosen love. As Vesuvius prepares to write your final chapter in stone and ash, the intimacy you have cultivated becomes not a mere historical curiosity, but a testament to the endless creativity of human affection and the persistent hope that love, like the city itself, can be both fragile and eternal.